is a struggle, and I agree with you with lowering the gaze. You know, Rasulullah ﷺ said, أول نظرة لك والثانية عليك. The first look is yours, the second look is against you. Don't go looking for hours with your first look. The first look is accidental. The second one is against you. But he said it in such a way that it's a minor sin. Meaning he knows it's hard, it's difficult. So when you say astaghfirullah, when you pray, when you give sadaqah, when you say salam alaikum to someone, when you say la ilaha illallah, it wipes it away, My advice to you is this: number one, lowering your gaze is not something that you can do perfectly. No one can. Everybody subtly, they get their desires to get the better of them. Allah, I've seen even the best of people. But the difference between the person who doesn't fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, doesn't have any sounds of iman or regret, and the person who does, they both look sometimes, but what happens? One of them goes back and does something to erase it, and the other one enjoys it and tells his friends about it. That's the difference. So my advice to you is not a medicine or a cure to lower your gaze forever and never be able to look. But there is no such solution. Allah created a desire in us to test us with it. It's there. And Rasulullah ﷺ said the first is yours, the second is against you, meaning it's always going to happen. So let's just cut to the chase, and let's not be superhuman beings. None of us are super Muslims, boy or girl, men or women. We all have, weaknesses. And these weaknesses, however, the difference between a person who is weak and fears Allah and a person who doesn't fear Allah is that the weak person does something about it. Now, when you go on the internet, for example, and there's these problems, then the only answer I have for you is this, my brothers and sisters. You must stop. You must. And you can. You can. Because if it becomes an addiction, do you know what I'm talking about? If it becomes an addiction, it's going to be very difficult to stop. But you can stop. Some people stop when they get caught by someone who they thought, I would kill myself if I get caught by this person. We don't want to get to that. Some people, they stop when a tragedy happens to them. We don't want to get to that. You can stop. Don't ever say to yourself you can't. Pornography is something that causes a person to become sick and ill. And listen about the problems that you have in the future. In high school, the 11s and year 12s come to me with this same problem. Say, I can't help myself, this, that. And I say to them, when you get married, it's going to cause you problems. And I start to detail the problems to them. I can't say it here, we have brothers and sisters together. But I want you to read about the psychological and physical problems it can cause to you and break up your marriage, break up your family and yourself if you get into stuff like that. The only solution for ghadd al-basar is fear. Fear. Fearing hellfire. Fearing the punishment. Fearing the embarrassment. Fearing the physical harm. The illness, the sickness. So my brothers and sisters, the best advice I can give you right now, simply for lowering your gaze, is if you do look, then do something to erase it. Do something to erase it. And one Sahabi said, Ya Rasulullah, is saying La ilaha illallah one of the ibadat that erases it? He said, among the best. So if you follow it up with that, inshaAllah, you'll keep it maintained and balanced. And if you are stuck with it in secret, no need to tell anyone about it. Leave it between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and do your utmost effort to do anything to stop it. You can stop. So my brothers and sisters in Islam, this is brief advice I can give you. Now in that conference, I saw one of the topics on Sunday. Please go to it. I'm not sure which Shaykh was giving or a Da'iyah was giving the topic about this particular issue in detail, inshaAllah. There's so much research done it, and I really advise you to go to it, inshaAllah ta'ala. I'm going to go to it because I have students who I'd like to go back with, inshaAllah, with more information. Now it says here, this question is controversial. I don't know if I should answer it, but inshaAllah, it says, هل يجوز الاحتفال بمولد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم? So is it allowed to celebrate the birth of Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم? I follow the opinion that it's not allowed. It's لا يجوز to celebrate the birth of the Prophet ﷺ. But I'm not one of those who go out and as if the world has ended when someone celebrates Mawlid al-Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now some people, they go to extremes with Mawlid. So kayfiyat al-ihtifal, the manner of how to celebrate, also matters to me. I agree, this is something which scholars have differed upon, and some of them, they went with strictly the hadith and sunnah, that if Rasulullah ﷺ did not celebrate his own birthday, then are we better than him and his sahabas to celebrate his birthday? I go with that opinion. If you want to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then why don't you do what the sahabas used to do? I don't think we loved Rasulullah ﷺ more than the sahabas or the tabi'een or the atba'at tabi'een. We're talking about 300 years in the making. 3 generations with 300 years where no one ever celebrated Mawlid al-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And I think they loved him more than us. So if we're just enough with that, inshaAllah, we can understand that celebrating Mawlid al-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is not really from the sunnah. However, if at the time of his Mawlid, we actually don't know when Mawlid al-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is. We know it was on a Monday, we know it was something like Rabi' al-Awwal, something like that, but nothing is authentic. It's like Isa alayhi salam. The Christians, they celebrate Christmas and they really don't know when he was born. You have the Orthodox celebrating Christmas 2 months before or 2 months later. You have the Mormons doing it another time. You have the Seventh-day Adventists doing another time. You have the Catholics who do it now on the 25th of December. Isa alayhi salam is a prophet. Why don't we celebrate his birthday? Musa alayhi salam is a prophet. Let's celebrate with the Jews. Why don't we do that? Well, I think we love him more than them, don't we? So it doesn't make sense to me, personally, neither Islamically nor in common sense, to celebrate Rasulullah's birthday. I think this was brought out historically from the Christians and those before, and we're imitating what they are doing by celebrating Jesus Christ's birthday. We're celebrating Muhammad's birthday to show that we love him. Now, brothers and sisters, very important, please do not put down those brothers and those mashayikh. Some of them are full of knowledge. One of my colleagues, mashallah, is a doctorate. He's got a doctorate in Tawheed and Aqidah, and he, subhanallah, celebrates Mawlid al-Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have long conversations together about it. However, the way he does it is this way. He says, Ya akhi, we live in a non-Muslim country. And honestly, in this week, we don't specify the day, but why don't we just, use this time in our khutbah, for example. You're having a daras that day. Instead of talking about another topic, talk about Sirat al-Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, talk about his birth, talk about his merits, his akhlaq, his character. And when you say, in this time Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born, don't specify it, then it'll be an occasion where young people come to actually listen and learn a little bit more. In that sense, I kind of agree with him. But don't specify a day and turn it into a celebration type, where we have nasheeds and we have fireworks and we have dancing, we have things like that. We don't do stuff like that, insha'Allah ta'ala. Wallahu a'lam. Just 2 more questions. We have, what is this? Something your barzakh? No, your barakah. I said here, Shaykh, you mentioned that Zayd married Ayman when she was middle 30s. How come?